Most people over 50 believe they already know what aging feels like. They think they understand their body, their habits, and the slow changes that come with time. But what if the real shift, the one that hits at 65, is nothing like what you've been told? What if the most dangerous changes don't make noise, don't cause pain, and don't announce themselves until it's already too late? Tonight, we re-unveiling 5 changes that strike almost every person once they hit 65. Changes backed by decades of American health data, medical research, and long-term aging studies. But before we name them, you need to see the pattern. The pattern that starts long before 65 and quietly builds a kind of biological momentum that no one warns you about. Because these changes don't begin in old age. Their origins reach all the way back to early adulthood. In your 20s and 30s, your body is running at peak efficiency. Hormones are balanced, metabolism is stable, and your cells repair damage faster than it can accumulate. Most people barely think about their health at this age. They assume they'll stay normal. But researchers at the Buck Institute for Research on Aging found that microscopic signs of aging begin as early as 24. Telomeres shorten, cellular waste builds up, inflammation flickers like a low fire, harmless at first, invisible, but not gone. Then the 40s arrive, and something subtle starts to shift. The National Health and Nutrition Examination Survey shows that after age 40, muscle mass declines at roughly 3 to 5% per decade. Even in people who remain active, this is the quiet beginning of what will become one of the 5 major changes at 65. But here's the twist. This decline doesn't hurt. There's no warning alarm, no sharp pain, nothing that signals, hey, you're losing the foundation of your strength. It's silent. And because it's silent, most people ignore it. Then comes 50. This is where the real shift begins, slow at first, then faster, like a train picking up speed. Hormones decline, metabolism slows, bone density drops an average of 1% per year, vision and hearing start to change. And yet, most Americans still believe they're not old enough to worry. They assume 65 is the age where things change. But medically, the setup for those changes begins 10 to 15 years earlier. It's at 50 that researchers like Dr. Luigi Ferrucci at the National Institute on Aging began noticing something strange. People who seem perfectly healthy in their 50s often show early biomarkers hidden, silent disruptions in inflammation, vascular health, blood sugar control, or neurological processing that predict exactly what will happen at 65. But people don't feel these things happening. They're too subtle, too quiet. Then there's the breaking point. Somewhere between 63 and 67, millions of Americans experience a sudden shift, not a crash. Just a moment when their body says, the old rules no longer apply. For some, it's needing the handrail when climbing stairs. For others, it's forgetting a name they've known for years. Or waking up with stiffness that lingers longer than before. It may even be the moment you lose balance for the first time. This is when the 5 major changes become visible. But before we name them, notice the pattern. Every stage of life led here. Each decade quietly trained your body for what happens at 65. And now, the fallout begins not just physically, but financially, socially, emotionally, and mentally. The CDC reports that 80% of people 65 and older have at least one chronic health condition. Nearly 70% have 2. Medical costs increase sharply. Independence gradually declines, and lifestyle choices shrink not because anyone wants that, but because the system of the body begins to operate under new rules. And then come the failed fixes. Old advice like just walk more, take your vitamins, get more rest, or drink more water doesn't reverse decline, it barely slows it. Seniors follow outdated routines because it's what they've always heard. But the research now shows those methods aren't enough to counter the 5 major changes you're about to learn. So let's reveal them now. Once you hit 65, 5 changes strike almost everyone. Muscle loss accelerates sharply after 65 up to 1% per year according to the National Institute on Aging. This affects balance, metabolism, blood sugar, mobility, and independence. It's one of the top predictors of future falls, disability, and hospitalizations. The vestibular system in the inner ear weakens, often without symptoms until the first fall or near fall. 1 in 4 Americans over 65 experiences a fall each year. It's not clumsiness, it's biology. Insulin sensitivity decreases. Blood sugar rises, weight gathers in the abdomen. The CDC reports that nearly 37% of people over 65 have prediabetes. This fuels inflammation, fatigue, and cognitive decline. Memory speed declines, not dramatically, but subtly. Lost keys, forgotten words, a moment of confusion. The University of Michigan Health and Retirement Study shows processing speed drops 10 to 20% at 65. Your immune system becomes less responsive to new threats but more reactive to old inflammation. The risk for infections, chronic inflammatory conditions, and slow healing increases significantly. These 5 changes aren't random. They're the final stage of the cause and effect timeline that began decades earlier. But here's the hopeful twist: none of these changes are destiny. Because the body at 65 is not finished, it's adaptable. And research shows something extraordinary. People who intervene at 65 can slow these changes by up to 30 to 60%. So here are 3 actions you can take starting today. First, add strength training twice per week. Light dumbbells, resistance bands, or body weight. Studies show it's the #1 tool for reversing muscle decline and improving blood sugar. Second, train your balance daily. 10 minutes, stand on 1 foot near a counter. Walk heel to toe. Practice slow turns. Balance is the fastest skill lost and the fastest regained. Third, increase protein intake. Most seniors consume 40 to 60% less protein than recommended. Aim for roughly 0.6 to 0.8 grams per pound of body weight, or whatever your doctor advises. Protein fuels repair, strength, and metabolic stability. But here's one clear warning: ignoring small symptoms, slight dizziness, unusual fatigue, weakness when standing leads to rapid decline. These early signs matter. They are signals, not annoyances. And one final thought: what if turning 65 isn't the beginning of decline, but the beginning of your second biological life, where you choose how fast or how slow you age? If you want the next chapter, where we reveal the *7 hidden habits that predict who ages gracefully and who doesn't, make sure you subscribe. What you learn next might add years, maybe even a decade to your independence.